Ever since I was a child, becoming a scientist was my dream job. And I did it! I became a scientist, I got my dream job in academia, and then one day I left it all behind. Today I want to share with you a few valuable lessons that I've learned on my journey from a science career in academia to embracing a fully creative life. If you've ever felt pulled towards a creative dream, but you weren't sure if you should follow it, I hope that my story encourages you to listen to that little voice inside you and see where it may lead you. Lesson number 1. It's okay to outgrow a dream you once loved and choose a new path. Ever since I was a child, I was very curious about our world. I wanted to know how things work and uncover the secrets of the universe. I've always loved learning, and from the very first moment we started studying physics in school, I fell in love with science. So obviously, with all that curiosity and desire to learn everything, I chose to become a scientist. It wasn't an easy path. I was studying all the time, working really hard, and spending many nights in the lab. But all that hard work was absolutely worth it. I had the chance to work on some really exciting projects. Some of the most fun projects I worked on involved doing scientific research on ancient mummies and bones, and even on art forgeries. And eventually, all the hard work paid off. I got my dream job, a faculty position at New York University, Abu Dhabi, and it felt like I had finally achieved everything I had been working for. But then, over the years, things started to change. I slowly started realizing that an academic life wasn't the life I really wanted for myself. And I certainly didn't want to spend the rest of my life in academia. But I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted instead. And then it was a combination of different events that led me to a completely different path. One of them was a trip I took to Rapa Nui. That trip inspired me to write my first novel. And through writing, I discovered a whole new life. One filled with imagination, creativity, and endless possibilities. The more I wrote, the more I fell in love with the creative process. Eventually, I realized that creativity wasn't something that I wanted to squeeze in 30 minutes before going to work. I wanted it to become a much bigger part of my life. I wanted to build a fully creative life. The lesson here is that sometimes we outgrow even the dreams we once deeply loved. That doesn't mean those dreams were mistakes. They served their purpose. They made you happy, helped you grow, taught you valuable lessons, introduced you to wonderful people, and shaped you into the person you are today. But sometimes a dream can only take you so far. And when the time comes, it's okay to let go of the old dream to make space for a new one. Lesson number 2. It's okay to pursue a dream that doesn't look like a safe career choice. I don't regret my time in academia at all. I loved leading my own research group, working on whatever fun projects I was interested in, and collaborating with other scientists who were just as excited about research projects as I was. Not only was the research part a lot of fun, but I also really loved working in such an international environment. I loved traveling all over the world, giving talks about my scientific research, teaching courses I was excited about, and having amazing students who were always eager to learn. But there were also parts of the academic life that I really didn't enjoy. I'm talking here about all the administrative work and sitting in endless meetings. These are, of course, all completely normal part of being a professor. They just didn't agree with my personality. And the more time passed and the more administrative work I had to do, the more I realized I definitely didn't want to spend the rest of my life in academia. I went from not being able to imagine any life outside of academia to absolutely dreading the thought of that being my life until old age. Luckily, by that point, I had already found my passion for writing and creativity. And that made it a lot easier to leave academia because I didn't just give up and quit. I quit to pursue a new dream and a new path that I was excited about. Even so, leaving academia behind was still full of fear and guilt. I worried worried about throwing away so many years of hard work. I worried about leaving behind a career that so many people thought was successful. And I worried about choosing a path that society definitely doesn't consider the safest career choice. But I knew I had to try. If you never try, you're never going to know what might have been possible. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone should quit their jobs tomorrow and hope that everything will magically work out. Life is more complicated than that. But I am saying that if a creative dream keeps calling to you, don't automatically dismiss it. Maybe you pursue it along your current job, or maybe you start by taking small steps. Maybe you spend years preparing before making the big change. A creative life doesn't have to begin with one giant leap. It can start with small steps. Do whatever it is possible for you to do right now. Just don't give up on your dream. Lesson number 3, follow your intuition. Creativity entered my life very quietly. In fact, I never even thought about writing a book. When someone first suggested that I should write a non-fiction book related to my research, my first thought was, me? Write a book? I never even thought I could write a book. But then, the more I thought about it, the more excited I got about the idea of writing a book. So thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for encouraging me to write a book and unknowingly setting me on a path that would change my life. As I was thinking about what topic I should use for my book, I took a trip to Rapa Nui, and suddenly a completely different idea came to my mind. A sci-fi novel set on the island. And just like that, my plan to write a non-fiction book turned into a sci-fi novel. So I slowly started writing my novel. At the time, I was still working a more than full-time job in academia, so I only wrote about 30 minutes in the morning and on weekends when I had the chance. I know it doesn't sound like much, but little by little, words add up. Eventually, I typed the 2 most exciting words a writer can ever type. The end. I had actually written an entire novel. What's interesting is that at the time, I wasn't doing this to change my career. I was simply doing something that brought me joy. Writing helped me relax, recharge, and connect with my creativity. And that small creative habit completely changed the direction of my life. It gave me the courage to finally leave academia and pursue a creative life. It eventually inspired me to create this Happy Writer Hub blog and YouTube channel, where I now get to create inspiring content for writers and support you on your own creative journey. And my creative journey didn't stop there. Along the way, it inspired me to write a sweet romance novel and choose sweet romance as my writing path, even though that's not at all what I imagined when I first left academia. What started out as just 30 minutes of writing in the morning slowly grew into a completely new life. One filled with creativity, imagination, and the opportunity to help other writers pursue their writing dreams as well. The lesson I learned here was to follow my passion and my intuition. When you get quiet and really listen to your intuition, it guides you exactly where you need to be. It probably won't show you your entire path, but at least it will show you the first step. For me, it led me from science to writing, from writing to Happy Writer Hub, into a fully creative life that feels deeply aligned with who I am today. And this is where I need to be right now. I don't know where this path will take me in the future or how my dreams and life will change along the way, but I'm excited to find out. So if there's something calling to you, a dream, a creative project, or even just a tiny spark of curiosity, don't ignore it. Follow your intuition and see where it takes you. You never know how much it might change your life. Lesson number 4. Putting fears aside is scary, but it's worth it. Leaving academia and choosing a creative life came with a lot of fears. First, it was the fear of leaving stability and the familiar to venture into the unknown. And this is huge, especially for someone who loves stability and needs to feel safe. Then there was the fear of judgment. What would people think when I walked away from a career that I had spent so many years working towards? Then came the fear of disappointing people. Disappointing my program head, my dean, my colleagues, colleagues, and especially my parents. My parents had always been there for me, and they supported me through the long and challenging journey of becoming a professor. And now I was choosing to walk away from it. Then there was the fear of starting over, doing something completely new, leaving my old identity behind and discovering who I am outside the academic bubble where I had spent most of my life in. It was such a scary step, but I am so happy that I took it. I am happy that I gathered the courage to leave and start on this whole new path. What I hadn't realized at the time was that this journey wouldn't just lead me to a creative life. It would also become a journey of self-discovery. It helped me learn more about who I am, what matters to me, and what kind of life I want to build for myself. Of course, it's still scary sometimes. I still don't know exactly how things will turn out, and I don't have the same sense of certainty and security I used to have. But despite all that, I am truly grateful to be on this path. The lesson I learned is that it's okay to allow yourself to want something new and choose a different direction. Yes, it's scary. Change almost always is. But every time you choose courage over fear, every time you step into the unknown, you grow into a new version of yourself. You discover strengths you didn't know you had, and new exciting possibilities will come to you that never would have come if you had stayed where you felt safe. So no matter how scary it may be to move past your fears, don't let them make your decisions for you. The things that help us grow the most are often the things we are most scared of, but that's exactly why they are worth pursuing. Lesson number 5, build a life that's aligned with who you are. Some people may think that a creative life means working less or avoiding work altogether, but it really doesn't. I work just as hard now as I used to work in academia. The work itself is very different, but it still requires a lot of hard work, discipline, perseverance, and the willingness to keep learning and keep improving. I'm constantly learning about writing, publishing, marketing, business, entrepreneurship, YouTube, blogging. There's always something new to learn. Luckily, I love learning, so that's never a problem for me. And neither is hard work. Hard work is what helped me become a scientist and have a successful academic career. And now it's helping me build this whole new chapter of my life. So no, I am not escaping hard work or working less. I am simply working towards building a life that is deeply aligned with who I am today. We all change over time. We grow, we evolve, we discover new passions. It's important to choose work that is aligned with who you are and who you're becoming. That's how you continue to grow, to evolve, and make your greatest contribution to the world. When you're miserable doing work that is not aligned with who you are or who you're becoming, it's difficult to live with joy and inspire the people around you. But when you're doing something you love, that joy shines through. You bring more joy into the world and you inspire others to go on their own journey of self-discovery and following their dreams. And that's exactly what I hope you will do. Lesson number 6. What I learned in the process of embracing a creative life. I learned that it's okay if your dreams change over time. I learned that it's okay to pivot, follow new dreams, and see where those dreams lead you. I also learned that it's important to move past fear and do the things that scare you. That's how we grow. If we stay in our safe corner, yes, we get the safety and the comfort that comes with it, but we also risk reaching the end of our lives wondering what if. And perhaps the most important lesson I learned was to follow your intuition. Follow what feels right deep down in your heart, even if you can't fully explain it. Will things always work out exactly the way we want them to? Probably not. Life has a funny way of surprising us and taking us on a path that gives us what we need and not necessarily what we want. Just like a well-crafted story. But I found that things do work out when you follow your intuition. Sometimes they work out exactly as you had hoped. Other times, they work out in a completely different way. They help you learn something important, or they guide you towards a new life chapter that you never expected. Either way, they move you forward. So be true to yourself. Don't hide your light. Don't even dim it for anyone. Let it shine as brightly as it can, and allow that spark inside you to be your guiding light. Keep following your dreams wherever they may lead you. How about you? Is there a dream you've been putting off, or a new path you've been thinking of exploring? Let me know in the comments below this video. I would love to hear about your journey. And if you'd like to learn how you can write a book while you're still working a full-time job, I have this other video for you. Keep writing and have fun writing.